Sure.
We'll call the City Council regular meeting to order. It's Tuesday, January 16th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Everyone please rise for the invocation given by Councilman Harvey Curley, and then followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, first of all, we thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. Lord, there are so many people out there tonight that are going to be terribly cold. Help them find a doorway that can sleep in, or a big box or whatever, and that they will survive that weather tonight. Bless this council, Lord, that we may make the decisions not based upon what we want, but is best for this community. We ask these things in your holy name, Jesus the living Christ. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Here.
Councilmember Curley?
Here.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Here.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Here.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Here.
Moving on to item 2, approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support. All right. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley?
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
All right, we'll move on to the first hearing of the public. Just bear in mind, I think we might have some people here to talk about the CDBG grants. There's a specific hearing for that coming up right after, so this is just open to everyone to speak. So the first hearing of the public is open. Would anyone wish to be heard?
Good evening. Happy New Year to everyone if I haven't seen you. I'm out of breath because I was running in. Good evening. My name is Wanda Moody, and I'm chair of the ACDC Commission. And let me start off by saying once again, Happy New Year to everyone. 2023 for the ACD Commission found very challenging things we were forced with. There were times we were unable to have quorum, to have different meetings. So for the audience here today, and of all of our viewers, ACDC's sole purpose is to highlight the need of recognizing diversity within our great city. Please understand, everything ACDC places its hands on with preparation and presentation will be of excellence. Social media can be hateful, but we have listened to what they have said with reference to the cancellation of Dr. King's celebration. With that being said, did we miss the mark with Dr. King's celebration? We say absolutely not, because Dr. King's life and legacy warranted an excellent celebration. So as chair of the commission and on behalf of the commissioners, we apologize for the cancellation, but such a celebration is due excellence. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else wish to be heard? Anyone else? Seeing none, the first hearing of the public is closed. We'll move on to approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
We don't have them on this agenda.
Sorry.
Hey, we'll still get done quickly.
Yeah, we're moving on quickly. All right.
I'll move that we don't do it because we don't have it.
And I'll still second that.
And who do we beat up for that?
No one.
Oh, no one.
No one.
Moving on to now our scheduled public hearing for the 2024 Macomb County Community Development Block Grant Program. And I see some new faces. If anyone's here to speak to that, please come up to the podium and state your name and which project you're speaking about.
Can I share some materials?
Sure.
Good evening. My name is Dory Vasquez Nolan. I'm the CEO of Care House, the Macomb County Child Advocacy Center. Our main office is located in the city of Mount Clemens, and for the past almost 7 years, we've also had a satellite center located in the city of Warren. We are the only agency in Macomb County that offers a comprehensive response to child victims of sexual abuse, physical abuse, and children that may have been a witness to a violent act, as well as their non-offending family members. Our goals are to minimize the trauma for the child victims and to provide coping skills, advocacy, and case management for the child and their family. We collaborate with all law enforcement jurisdictions in Macomb County, as well as the FBI, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, and Homeland Security, as well as Children's Protective Services, Macomb County Prosecutor's Office, and medical and mental health professionals. You know, when we think about children, we like to imagine their innocent laughter, playful spirits, and their precious dreams for the future. But unfortunately, not all children have the opportunity to experience carefree childhoods. Many children right here in our community face unimaginable challenges and hardships, including child abuse, neglect, and trauma. And that's where Care House comes in. Care House serves as a beacon of hope for child victims of sexual and physical abuse, providing them with a safe haven where their voice can be heard and their needs can be met. It's a place where healing begins, where resilience is nurtured, and where childhood can be reclaimed. Each child who walks through our doors has a unique story, a story that's often filled with pain and suffering, but our goal is to rewrite the ending to those stories and to give these children the support and resources they need to heal and to thrive. We offer intervention and support services for the child victim and their families, intervening to promote healing and helping families cope with the emotional stress and trauma that's not only caused by the abuse itself, but by the investigative process. Our services include the coordination of forensic interviews, crisis counseling, child safety and trauma assessments, child and family support groups, trauma-informed therapy sessions, family advocacy, access to forensic medical examinations, and referrals to other needed community services. Excuse me. As a designated counsel in Macomb County for the Michigan Children's Trust Fund, Care House also offers child abuse prevention, education, and training to professionals and to the community at large. We're actually very excited about a new pre-K through second grade program that we have, a body safety program. We've actually been in touch with the superintendent of Eastpointe schools, and we are focusing our presentations on the southern part of Macomb County for the next couple of years. In October of 2022, Care House started our Family Resource Center. We call it the FRC. It's a parent-driven, welcoming, and supportive hub for families in our community who are seeking resources. And these are not just families that are dealing with allegations of abuse. Our FRC will offer family pantries, parent leadership development and mentoring, positive parenting and child development education, and warm handoffs to other needed community resources. Families are never charged for any of the services that they receive at Care House. I'm also very proud to report that according to our most recent independent financial audit, 89 cents of every dollar that comes to Care House is devoted towards the services that we provide for children and families. Since we opened in 1996, we've conducted over 10,700 forensic interviews, with 491 of those children being residents of Eastpointe. In 2022, we conducted 704 forensic interviews with 17 children residing in Eastpointe. And last year, in 2023, we conducted 650 forensic interviews, including 29 Eastpointe children. So far this year, we've already seen 3 children from the city of Eastpointe. And we also provide ongoing therapy and advocacy services for several Eastpointe families. We do depend on the community to provide a voice for child victims and a safe place for them to be heard. We are so grateful for the long-standing support from the city of Eastpointe and for the $10,800 that we received in CDBG funding last year. That supported services for 18 children living in your community. This year, we respectfully request consideration in funding for the amount of $15,000 to support services for 25 qualifying children and their families. But of course, we would be very grateful for any amount that you could allocate. For more information about Care House, we invite you to visit our website at www.mccarehouse.org and to follow our Facebook page. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the work that you do too. Who else would like to speak?
I too have things to hand out, just so you guys can get to them. Thank you so much. Hi, my name is Krista Carpenter, and I am the Executive Director of Hearts for Homes. Hearts for Homes is a nonprofit here in Macomb County only, assisting homeless families and their children to find safe, affordable housing in our county. We, year-to-date, have assisted 59 families, which equates to 116 children. Homelessness is defined by us by they have to be living in their car, living on the street, couch surfing. Our qualifications are they must have an income in the form of a job, or if they're disabled, or Social Security, and they must have children, and they must reside in Macomb County. In 2023, we helped 8 families in Eastpointe, including a wonderful success story where we placed a family on December 22nd, 3 days before Christmas. So the 4 children were able to have a nice, warm, nice, wonderful new house for them to live in for Christmas. So that was exciting, and we provided them also some Christmas presents and things that the mom couldn't provide for them. Most of our families are referred to us through school liaisons, the homeless liaisons, and so we've built a great relationship with them. And that's about all I have. I don't have all of this. We're grassroots. We're only about 6 years old. So if you have any questions, though, I'd be more than willing to answer them if I've missed anything that's important to you guys.
Oh, thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
The handouts I just included, it gives you the basic info of what I said, how long we've been in since 2016. I think we helped our first family with a micro loan in 2016 when we were trying to get our bearings. And the other handout is our newsletter that we send out 4 times a year so that our donors, we're primarily individual donor based. And so this will be our first year addressing you all for assistance. The 8 families we helped with security deposit and eviction assistance. It came out to about $11,000 last year, 2023. So, good? Yes? Smiles?
Does anyone have questions?
Happiness?
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Janice Pratt, resident advocate with Turning Point Shelter Program. Turning Point has been providing a safe place for families fleeing violence since 1980. Between July 1st, 2022 and June 30th, 2023, the Emergency Shelter Program provided 205 shelter bed nights to 10 Eastpointe residents. Across other agency programs, Turning Point served an additional 131 Eastpointe residents. Turning Point's Emergency Shelter Program is a safe haven for survivors of domestic and sexual violence. It provides immediate safety, crisis intervention, and resources to families trying to establish basic safety. The project is a multifaceted approach to ending the cycle of violence in families. Turning Point's 2 shelter case managers meet with every new shelter resident within 24 hours of their arrival to develop an individualized plan based on their goals. They also work on a plan for safety, housing, and financial stability. This plan can include literacy, immigration, credit repair, supportive counseling for domestic and sexual violence after leaving shelter. The Emergency Shelter Case Management Program has developed collaborations and linkages to multiple systems, organizations, businesses, and churches that can help domestic violence victims maintain their safety when leaving shelter. There is strong evidence which states that improving survivors' knowledge of and access to community resources leads to higher quality of life and less risk of re-abuse over time. Resource building serves as a protective factor that enhances women's safety over time. Turning Point continues to provide comprehensive services to children while in shelter and after they leave. Children in shelter receive crisis support, tutorial educational assistance, safety planning, recreation activities 7 days per week. A day camp runs all summer. Many children keep in contact with us for many months after leaving shelter. A child crisis advocate works with children and teens in shelter and is able to follow them after they leave shelter to continue offering individual and group supportive services. Turning Point Shelter Facility is completely handicap accessible, has increased educational indoor and outdoor play area for children and teens, private sleeping and bathroom facilities, multi-purpose rooms that function as a dining room and family activity area, private dedicated counseling spaces, and spaces for other nonprofits to be on site to deliver their services. If Turning Point is awarded $8,500 of CDBG funds requested, Turning Point would be able to provide hotel accommodations to survivors and their families when shelter beds are not available, receive hygiene kits, food, supplies, and other basic needs. Funds are also provided to survivors and families to wash clothes and transportation costs. Thank you for your time and consideration. I also have packets and resource folders.
Sure, bring them up.
Okay.
Thank you. And does anyone have questions for this one? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Pass these up to the council, and we will spare the city attorney. I'm sure he doesn't need any more paperwork. So, good evening to the City Council of Eastpointe. My name is Scott Andrews, and I am a coordinator with Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers. For over 30 years, our organization has been providing free basic assistance to hundreds of frail, older, and physically challenged adults, helping them remain in their homes, and we assist them with the help of hundreds of volunteers. Such assistance in helping these older disabled adults, our office does everything from free transportation to and from necessary medical appointments, chores, respite breaks, errands, and then obviously the last couple of years, the challenges of loneliness. These opportunities of our volunteers provide fulfilling experiences for them, as well as supporting those who are in need. The request for CDBG funding is our Safe at Home project, which is part of our larger chore and repair program. This project was developed to provide additional chore and repair services in the communities that allow it, Macomb County, that have these CDBG funding. With our Safe at Home project, it allows us to assist low to moderate income seniors and physically challenged adults with indoor and outdoor chores, minor home repairs, routine housekeeping. As an organization, we identify those individuals who can't do the tasks on their own and have limited resources and try to prioritize those with the greatest need. So for the last 5 years, we have requested CDBG funding from the city of Eastpointe to increase the number of low-income citizens that we can reach in our program. Of the handout I sent out to you, of interest, especially for the numbers people, on the white sheets, if you flip on the back side, you'll be able to see that, as an example, last year we were awarded $1,620, and we completed 37 tasks for City of Eastpointe residents. The current year, in our first quarter, we completed 9 of these tasks, the housekeeping or repair for Eastpointe residents, and are projected to do 22 or more. You can see that in the last year, we've served 37 different clients that we have in the city of Eastpointe, some of them with rides to doctor appointments, some of them with repairs, and we have 8 active volunteers that are City of Eastpointe residents that volunteer with our organization. And then you can see over the last 20 years, we've had a total of 176 clients in Eastpointe. Ultimately, we appreciate the partnership we've had with Eastpointe. Our office is on Kelly Road, right across the street, going into the city of Roseville, so I'm certainly familiar with the area. But any dollar amount you could possibly be willing, CDBG funding would be greatly appreciated. We certainly hope to continue our partnership for years to come. And being very honest, one of the forms I handed to you about volunteering is if you happen to know anyone who possibly could use our services. Again, these are unpaid volunteers that sort of come out and do the assistance with rides or with home repairs. And if you know of anyone who may want to give the gift of volunteering, please refer them our way and let us know.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right. Is there anyone else who would wish to speak? Okay. Seeing none, the scheduled hearing for the 2024 Macomb County Community Development Block Grant Program is closed. And we'll move on to unfinished business, which we have none. Move on to reports from administration. City Manager's report, Ms. Walton.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We'll start off, we have filters available here at City Hall, DPW, and the library. MDHHS recommends that those filters, the cartridges are replaced every 2 months. So if you've not done that already, please stop in. We do have cartridges available for the pitcher and the faucet filters. February 17th starts our early voting. So if you're interested in early voting, register, and you're already registered, you're prepared to vote at the library. That is our early voting location. We also have 2 new election drop boxes, so you're also welcome to drop an absentee ballot at the library or here outside City Hall. As a reminder, our February election, the presidential primary, is February 27th, so you can register in person up until that date. The deadline to register by mail or online is February 12th, so if you're looking to register to vote online or by mail, that deadline is February 12th. And then after that, you can register here in person at the clerk's office. Coming up on March 19th at 11:15 a.m., we have the State of the City at the LFA Hall, where our Mayor Kleinfeld, Judge Galen, as well as our Superintendent, Christina Gibson, will be there. If you're interested in tickets, the Chamber has those available. Again, March 19 at 11:15 a.m. across the street from City Hall at the LFA Hall is the State of the City. We have board and commission openings, so if you're interested, we have some openings on some of our boards and commissions. I know ACDC and Civil Service specifically have had some recent openings, so if you're interested, please apply and we'll get those over to City Council for appointment. And with that, Mayor and Council, I can certainly answer any questions you may have.
Does anyone have any questions? All right, we'll move on to next item, Finance Director's report, Mr. Blum.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to point out that I left some paperwork buried under all your other paperwork on the desk. It was also emailed earlier today, but it has information on the leased take-home vehicles. Give you plenty of time before the February 6th meeting to take a look at it and ask any questions if you have any. And the only other thing I have is there's still one council member I'm waiting on paperwork so I can pay them. No names.
Is it male or female?
But sooner the better, so. That's all I have unless you have any questions.
Any questions?
Okay.
All right, moving on to the City Attorney's report, Mr. Albright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. I only had one topic. It's regarding the email that I circulated over the weekend regarding the resident and some liens that were placed at the property owner's property. I was wondering if the council would like to go into closed session at a future meeting perhaps the first meeting in February. If so, I'll make sure that that is on the agenda. I don't think there's any other written materials that need to be provided other than what's already been provided.
I think that's fine.
Okay. All right. That's all I had, Mayor. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, does anyone else have any questions? Seeing none, moving on to new business. Item A, second reading of ordinance number 24-1235 to amend Chapter 18, Environment, Article 3, nuisances of the City of Eastpointe ordinances. Would anyone like to make a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
All right, moving on to item B, capital improvement plan. Ms. Walton, should I open this with you or with Mr.? Oh, go ahead. Mr. Kern, please.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. In your packet tonight is the draft of the annual capital improvement program. This goes through the fiscal year 2029 to 30. We've got it broken down, as we have in the past, between 4 different funding sources: the Major Street Fund, the Local Street Fund, the Water Fund, and the Sewer Fund. I'll just give a brief overview of each one. On the Major Street Fund, every year we always have maintenance programs that we put into the capital improvement plan. We have a joint sealing program and a pavement marking program that we put on there on an annual basis. We're looking at potentially doing a joint sealing program here in the next fiscal year, and with major streets, and then go back to local streets. We just finished a 2-year program here last year with local streets. We haven't really focused on the major streets with joint sealing here in a few years, so we'd be looking to address that and then get back into some of the local streets and residential streets. Same with the pavement marking program. We haven't done that in a few years, and we're definitely due to move forward with that as well. So we're looking at doing that in 25. As far as capital projects with major streets, we do have the Kelly Road traffic signal modernization that the city did get $450,000 in safety grant money through MDOT. That's currently with MDOT to go back out to bid. And as far as road reconstruction projects, we did this past year start the reconstruction of 9 Mile and about 95% complete with the first phase of 9 Mile from Beechwood to Gratiot, with some restoration and sidewalk work that still needs to take place in the spring. We're currently in the process with an alternative redesign of the second phase of 9 Mile from Gratiot to Tuscany that we'll be presenting at the next council meeting. We have a public hearing for that at the next council meeting as well. With that, along with the third phase from Tuscany to I-94, the city is receiving federal aid assistance for those projects for 81.85% of the construction cost. Depending upon the outcome of how we proceed with 9 Mile, some of these numbers might change with the final CIP. Future projects, the city has gotten approval for federal aid assistance to do some concrete patching along Hayes from Stevens to 10 Mile in fiscal year 2026. We did also apply for federal aid assistance to reconstruct Topher from Kelly to Beaconsfield in fiscal year 2025. We were not successful in getting that federal aid assistance for that project. The Macomb County Federal Aid Committee they'll have a call for projects most likely at the end of this year and consider next year projects for fiscal years 27 through 29, and we'll reapply for Topher for fiscal year 2027. Those federal aid dollars are only eligible on major streets within the city: Old 8 Mile, Topher, Stevens, Kelly, Hayes. I might be missing one there, but there's only 6 or 7 streets that are eligible under federal aid assistance. With the local streets, we do annually do a pavement patching program. We have $700,000 budgeted each year for the next 6 years to continue that. At the end of this past year, we had gotten 50% through the city with that program. We started that program, I believe, in 2019. We divided the city into 13 districts with that program. We finished District 7, which finished all the streets south of 9 Mile, and we did get into a few streets north of 9 Mile, west of Gratiot. This next year, we'll finish those streets between 9 Mile and Stevens, west of Gratiot, and then continue eastward over to 94, and then jump up between Stevens and 10 and work our way west. By the 2029-30 fiscal year, we would anticipate that we would have completely gone through the entire city and that we'd be able to start that cycle again. And that addresses all the streets that are rated a 4 or 5 in our PASER system, a fair rating, and we do that to try to extend the life of the pavement on those streets before they become poorly rated, and that they're too far gone that we have to reconstruct those, which typically costs about 3 times the amount of money. So the city's definitely been proactive in that. Each year, we apply for community development block grant funding for road projects. We put a budgetary number in each year, anticipating that we'll get CDBG money for road projects. The city can get up to $150,000 each year for road projects, and we have been successful in the last few years in doing so. Typically, it's one block that we reconstruct or resurface. So this coming year, we're going to be resurfacing one block of Springer. In the last couple of years, we've also reconstructed sections of Roxana and Almond. And we've got discussion on that here. I think the next item as far as what we want to apply for fiscal year 2025. And then it appears that we do have some money here in future years for some capital improvement projects with the local streets, whether it's resurfacing or reconstructing. We did put a budgetary number for to do something every other year as far as a reconstruct or resurface, and potentially we're looking at the reconstruction of Ash Avenue from Kelly to Beaconsfield as the next local street reconstruction project. On the water fund, since last year, the water fund capital improvement plan has changed significantly. And that's due to the amount of grant money that the city has received in the last year for water system improvements. We just finished the first phase of the Drinking Water Revolving Fund loan program, which replaced the water main on the west side of Gratiot from 8 to 9 Mile, on Beechwood from Juliana up to 9 Mile, and then replaced approximately 100 lead water services on Tuscany from 9 Mile to Stevens. What's shown in the capital improvement plan is the payback, the annual payback on the Drinking Water Revolving Fund loan. For each year, that's a 20-year loan at 1.875% interest. The city did get a $2 million grant as part of that project. We're currently designing the second phase of the Drinking Water Revolving Fund loan program, which is an $18 million project that will continue water main replacement on Gratiot on the west side from 9 to 10 and on the east side from Topher to 10. That will complete, at that point, all of the water main along Gratiot will be new. So right now, the water main on 9 Mile was installed in the mid to late 1920s. So it'll be good that we get that replaced. We'll also be replacing several.
I'm sorry, just check. I want to make sure the 300,000 amount, that's the repayment, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, along with Gratiot, we'll also be doing several residential water main replacements under that program as well. With that $18 million, the city did get $8.6 million in ARPA grant money, as well as $500,000 in federal infrastructure grant money as well. And we'll be getting a $500,000 loan. And then the remaining $8.6 million will be covered through the water and sewer fund. And then we're in the, I guess before I get to the third phase of the DWRF, the city also did get a $10 million earmark in the state budget for lead water service replacements. We anticipate that will cover about 1,100 lead water service replacements. Once that project's complete, we estimate that would leave just over 300 lead water services left in the city to replace. So the third phase of the DWRF that we're looking to apply for this year would be to try to obtain either grant or loan funding to replace those remaining lead water services. It's our understanding with all the federal infrastructure dollars that are coming down the line, those would be funneled through the DWRF program, and that the emphasis in this next round would be on lead water service replacements. So that's why we're going to apply for that and see what we can get as far as any grant money to finish that. Out of the 2,262 lead water services in the city's water system to date, we've replaced 805. So about 35% of the lead water services have been replaced to date. And I will say that the city of Eastpointe is well ahead of the game on that compared to other communities. The city does have until 2034, the year 2034, to replace all those lead services. So we'll definitely have that completed well ahead of that deadline. And then we've also put, after the DWRF program is done, starting in the 2027 year, we've put a budgetary number in for future water main replacements as well. And we're also in the process of replacing the water main on 9 Mile. We did start that here last week, but unfortunately with the cold weather, there's no work taking place this week. They'll be back next week to continue with that replacement from Gratiot to Tuscany. And on the sewer side, we are finishing up the citywide cleaning and televising program. We're about 85% done with that program. We anticipate that'll be done here at the end of the winter. With that, we have spent to date about $1.5 million in sewer rehabilitation, mostly with the sewers west of Gratiot. We did apply for a state revolving fund loan to either get a loan or grant money to do further sewer rehab in maintenance districts 2 and 3. We were not successful in getting that last year, but we're going to apply again this year for that, and hopefully get some money there. We did apply for $5.2 million for sewer rehab last year, and we'll do the same again this year. It's typically recommended that the sewers are cleaned and televised every 5 years, so we do have in the capital improvement program starting in 2026 to start that cycle again to get through the entire city and reevaluate the city. And then we also have budgetary numbers in there for sewer rehabilitation and catch basin repairs on an annual basis as well. And if anyone has any questions, I will entertain those.
All right, does anyone have any questions? Okay.
Just a comment, lots of awesome stuff going on, just overall in all those categories, so thanks everybody that works on that.
All right, thank you. And I don't believe we have any action on that. We were just getting an update, right? So we will move on to item C, approval of allocation of 2024 Macomb Community Development Block Grant Funds. All right.
Mr. Mayor, I've got, as I have in previous years, a spreadsheet to help us with the math for giving out the money to the public's, well, the philanthropies, so I can help with that.
Thank you. So we have 23,600 to split up this year, I understand, among 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 applicants. I guess I would like to start by discussing the numbers for the 4 that appeared here today, because I certainly would want to include them in the allocation. Does anyone have any suggestions or ideas on how much they preferred to allocate to perhaps those first 4?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Oh, sure.
So the first category, the senior tour program, that is a set aside automatically. But then as you can see, approved entities requesting funds from Eastpointe are Care House, Hearts for Homes, Interfaith, Volunteer Caregivers, MCREST, and then it jumps to Motor City Mission, a new entity, and Turning Point. So there's really the 6.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, does anyone have any suggestions, perhaps?
I printed a spreadsheet if anybody wants something a little easier to look at. It's empty just with all the request numbers.
Thank you.
If you wanted to just throw in your own numbers. I think roughly looking at this, if they were all even, which I think, we've usually favored anyone for sure that's come and shared, what their group has done for the city of Eastpointe. Probably 50 or 60% of the requests. So if we skew that towards any of the organizations that showed up, give a higher percentage or just some other number according to the request, I think that'll all work out. Obviously, we cannot do 100% of all the requests.
Sure, go ahead.
I have a quick question. So the 23-6 award is to be divided among everyone, but the 14-8 is specifically earmarked for senior chores program, is that correct?
Yes.
So technically, we're just,
So it's a total of 38,400, and then if you subtract the 14,800, that leaves the 23,600 for council to divide.
that's what I was trying to figure out. Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
So, Mr. DeMonico, you mentioned did you say the percentage of what we could give, like if we did it evenly?
It's somewhere around, it's a little less than 50%, I think. Wait, 50, yeah. If it was even. If we do like 60% to who showed up and 40% to who didn't, that's only comes to $240 over. So that gets pretty close if that gives everyone an idea. So that would be like 9,000 for Care House, 3,000 for Hearts for Homes, like just under 2,000 for Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers, just over 2,000 for McRest, 2,600 for Motor City Mitten Mission, and 5,100 for Turning Point. And that's pretty close. Lucky guess here. I just threw in some numbers or percentages just now.
I'd be okay with essentially going with that suggestion, 60, 40, and then maybe taking that extra, or the amount that's not covered, the extra 200 or however amount away from the Motor City Mitten to balance it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's see if we did 20, let's see, what's the math on that? 2360? And then I think yeah, I could read off the exact numbers.
Why don't you give us exact numbers, but you're.
So I said, yeah, so it's, Care House is exactly 9,000, like I said, 3,000 for Hearts for Homes, and then Interfaith is 1998. McRest, 2142. Motor City Mitten Mission, 2360. And then Turning Point, 5,100. And I guess if Mr. Blum wants to double check my, let's see, sum of F4 through F9. I think I've got them all here. That math should add up.
I mean, I appreciate it because I don't like math, so.
Can you give those numbers again?
Sure. Care House, 9,000. Hearts for Homes, 3,000. Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers, 1998. McRest, 2142. Motor City Mitten Mission, 2360. Turning Point, 5,100.
Thank you.
Mr. Blum, am I right there?
Okay. Does anyone have any other opinions or would want to shift it around differently, or would everyone be happy with that allocation?
Well, obviously, we all agree with this statement that we wish we could give everybody the max, let me turn down the maximum, but we can't. But every one of these are doing what Matthew 25 said, that feed the hungry and house the homeless and give clothing for the people who are naked. And so they're all doing that job. And we're doing the best we can based upon what we got returned. So the numbers are fine with me.
All right. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I think.
Well, Councilman DeMonico probably should make the motion.
Sure. Let me reference our packet real quick here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'll move to allocate the CDBG public service funds in the total amount of $23,600 as follows: $9,000 for Care House, $3,000 for Hearts for Homes, $1,998 for Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers, $2,142 for the Macomb County Rotating Emergency Shelter Team, as everyone knows at McRest, $2,360 for Motor City Mitten Mission, and last but not least, $5,100 for Turning Point.
Is there support?
Support.
Your pick. I don't know who supported that.
I heard Mr. Curley.
Okay. Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes. All right, and then we're actually on this same item to choose, I believe it's under the same item, to choose the top two projects. All right, did anyone have anything or any discussion they wanted to start off with on this one?
Sure, Mr. Mayor. I like the concrete reconstruction projects. I guess, would be my top selections out of what we've got in front of us here. I guess to keep it brief. Just two of the three, we could pick two of the three.
Yeah, I agree. I think personally, when possible, I prefer reconstruction to resurfacing. I don't necessarily have an opinion of which two of the three, though, of the top, of the three listed. Does anyone disagree with it and want to look at the other projects, or should we just discuss those three? All right, Mr. Kern, would you have an opinion as to which ones you think probably we should prioritize, which two?
So all three sections that were recommended there were all rated a 2 out of 10 on the PASER rating system. Unfortunately, most of your poorly rated streets fall outside of the CDBG eligible areas. So the two worst within your CDBG eligible areas are Lexington between Stevens and 10 and Teppert between Stevens and 10. Lexington is a concrete street. It's showing a lot of cracking, a lot of wear. Teppert is a concrete street with an asphalt cap. There was an asphalt layer that was placed over the concrete several years ago that has deteriorated rapidly. For a reconstruction, both Lexington and Teppert between Stevens and Forest are roughly the same cost at just over $300,000 the construction cost, whereas Teppert from Forest to Haas, it's about 200 feet longer than the other two sections, so you're looking at about a $450,000 construction cost on that. I guess to apply for two, I guess I would recommend Lexington from Stevens to Forest and Teppert from Stevens to Forest as the top two to apply for.
Would it shave down the cost at all to do both sections of Teppert at the same time?
There might be a slight, with it being a larger project, it could come in slightly less. The unit pricing could come in slightly less. I guess it would be dependent upon if the local street fund could handle that, because if you do it as one project, we can only apply for $150,000 under CDBG, and then the local road fund would have to cover the remaining costs.
Oh, sure. Okay. Never mind.
All right, is anyone ready to make a motion? In that case, I will make a motion for city manager to prepare and submit applications to the Macomb County Competitive Grant Program for the Community Development Block Program funds in the amount of $150,000 each for the following two proposals, with higher priority given to the first of the two, and that would be concrete reconstruction of Lexington, Stevens to Forest, approximately 600 feet, and concrete reconstruction Teppert, Stevens to Forest, west, approximately 600 feet. Essentially the top two listed in the packet.
I'll second.
All right, any other questions? Please call the roll.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes?
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
All right, moving on to item D, 2024 to 2026 concrete pavement reprogram program. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Sure, Mr. Mayor, I'll move that we award the concrete pavement repair, the miscellaneous street repair, and the sidewalk repair programs to the low bidder, Italia Construction Incorporated of 57151 Deer Creek Court, Washington, Michigan 48094 for the total amount over the 3-year period beginning March 1, 2024 and through December 31, 2026 for a total estimated construction cost over the 3-year period, $3,055,058.25.
Is there support?
Support.
Any questions?
Have we dealt with Italia before?
Yeah, Italia's been doing this program, we used to do these programs separately under separate contracts. We've combined them all into one project here this year. And they have been involved with all three programs for the past at least 5 years, maybe longer.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just one comment, maybe, Mr. Mayor. I think these three programs are great, and for everybody, I guess, out there that doesn't sound too familiar, the concrete pavement repair is when you've probably seen some of the streets where we're doing just small sections throughout the street. We've been setting aside like $750,000, I think is what it was. I don't know, we just talked about it a second ago, yep. To do a section of the city each year, so that'd be that, and then the miscellaneous is if there's like a water main break and we come back, we'll put asphalt down at first and then come back and put concrete down later. That'd be this concrete. And then, of course, the sidewalk repair program, which we'll have a map soon enough here that everyone can reference, and you'll know we do like one section split up in 7 sections throughout the city each year, and this company would also be doing that. So should be saving us money to do all these with one company. It's certainly, I hope they're paying a living wage to all their employees, because they're quite a bit lower than the second lowest bid on all of these. But yeah, that's just wanted to clarify that.
Oh, thank you. All right, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes?
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
All right, moving on to item E, schedule a public hearing for the Clean Water State Revolving Fund loan project.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to schedule a public hearing to allow public comment regarding the application to the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy for the citywide sanitary sewer rehabilitation through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, CWSRF loan program.
All right, did you hear that?
Support.
All right, please call the roll.
Wait, one quick question. We were specifying February 20th, right? Was
Right.
the
Yes.
okay? Because that just wasn't in the motion. Just wanted to clarify that. That was all.
All right, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes?
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Moving on to item F, accept the state of Michigan Department of Natural Resources, MIDNR Community and Urban Forestry Grant Award. Would anyone like to make a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All right, motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
All right, moving on to item G, appointment to the Planning Commission. I'm sorry, I can't remember. Is this a council-wide or is this a mayoral?
Council.
Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Sure, Mr. Mayor, I'll motion that we appoint Alexander Stokes to the vacant position on the Planning Commission with the term to expire December 31, 2028.
I'll second.
All right, would anyone like to add anything? Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes?
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes. All right, moving on to payroll and bills. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move that we pay the bills in the amount of $2,366,212.12.
Support that.
All right, does anyone have any questions? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
All right, moving on to the second hearing of the public. The second hearing of the public is now open. Would anyone wish to be heard? Would anyone wish to be heard? All right, seeing none, the second hearing of the public is closed. Moving on to mayor and council reports. How about we start with Councilman DeMonico today?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Keep this quick since it's only 7:54 here. As quick as possible. Hope everyone had a good MLK Day, and I think in our community here in Eastpointe, I think we're marking Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream true here, at least in part of it. You know, there's a lot of work to do, but, you know, I think we all work together and struggle together here, black people, white people, all together, and I think we have a great community, and, you know, I think just Martin Luther King Jr. be glad to see what's going on here. So I like to see that. I was at the Carmanos Cancer Center in Roseville. They had a sort of grand opening. They've been open for a year doing doctor appointments there, but now they'll be doing cancer treatments there. So if you do know anybody that's unfortunately going through cancer, we have a place nearby. So if they live in the area, reach out to them. They're just Utica, just south of 13 Mile. So keep them in mind. Soon enough here on the 22nd at 6 p.m. at the Military Museum, we'll be starting the planning for the Memorial Day Parade. So please come out if you are interested. We're hoping to make it just as much a success this year. We do have our wonderful, we'll be making sure we get Mickey back out again because she quadrupled the amount of groups that were in the parade all on her own. I'm giving her full credit for that. We had, what was it? We went from 13 to like 60 groups in 1 year. Last year, wish I remembered the exact, somewhere around 60 groups last year. So if you know anyone else, please let's keep making it bigger. It's definitely more fun when it's a bigger parade, and let everyone know to come out and watch it. We always do it right on Memorial Day, of course, and we'll most likely be doing it down Stevens again like we did last year and the year before. So again, Military Museum, this upcoming Monday at 6 p.m. if you want to meet us there if you're interested in helping out. And then just one quick thing, of course, which it's kind of, I think it's always feels quick probably, but of course the presidential primary, as Ms. Walton said, is next month, February 27th. So just make sure you do your due diligence, learning about the candidates, and just for sure make sure you get out and vote and make your vote count. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Poshadlik?
I just have a couple things. Does that mean we're doing a float for the Memorial Day? Let's get bigger and better? I guess I'm going to have to come to the meeting.
I guess that's what I signed up for.
The other thing I'd like to mention is I'm thrilled that we've got somebody on planning. That was great to welcome Alex to the Planning Commission. And I believe there's an opening on ACDC as well. So hopefully people put in their applications for that position as well. It'd be great to have some new people join us for that commission. And that's all I have today.
All right, Councilman Baker.
Thank you. Just briefly, I was able to attend the MLK breakfast yesterday along with some of my members of council, other members from the community. Chief Haynes was there. And speaking of Chief Haynes, congratulations. I know your swearing in was today. I'm sorry I couldn't make it because normally I try to come out, but I was just across town and couldn't be here. But that is all. And if anybody hears a story of spilled coffee, it had nothing to do with me. That's for Chief Haynes. That's all I have.
Thank you.
No word today.
No word today. One.
Councilman Curley.
Thank you, thank you. A reminder, as I reminded you last time, on the council meeting February 6th, it's a big day for a certain person up here on this dais, his 87th birthday. I won't mention who that is, but you don't look 87. But there will be an opportunity for you to come and give your opinion on the construction or reconstruction of 9 Mile Road. That agenda item is right at the top, so you want to be here at 7 o'clock if you want to come and speak on that item. Secondly, on a personal thing, Mr. Mayor, our church, Genesis, a church in Royal Oak, will begin housing the homeless beginning Sunday. Each church in Royal Oak takes 14 days, so that'll be our beginning for 14 days. Right now, there's 40 people that are being housed at St. Mary's. Unfortunately, 7 have covert, so even as we speak, we're trying to change where people are going to sleep because we can't have mixed covert people with people who don't have COVID. So pray for those people. And when you leave tonight, you know, you'll be surprised how fast those roads freeze over. So just, you know, take an extra 3 minutes to get home. Then you can have some hot chocolate and watch your favorite TV show. God bless everybody, and that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I also want to comment and say that the MLK breakfast was a nice event. A few of us were able to go. I'd like to thank Love Life for making sure there was enough space for us to be there. It's if anyone's able to go in the future, in the next year or beyond, it's a packed event, and it's a pretty great event to go to. Thank you to everyone who came here and spoke to the CDBG grants. I really appreciate it. As Mr. Curley, or Councilman Curley said earlier, everyone's doing great work. We wish we had enough money to give to everyone. For me personally, I have a special place in my heart for the groups that do the victim advocacy, like Turning Point and Care House. I hear great things from prosecutors in Macomb County all the time who rely on that for victim services. So with that, everyone have a good night, and I will entertain.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld.
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick.
Yes.
Right, meeting adjourned at 8:01 PM.